This video will show you how to get started with the ETSL for first grade. So the first thing you're going to do is open an internet browser and navigate to ebly.com. So once you get to the Ebly website, where it says ETSL here in the top right corner, you're going to hover and then click ETSL Log On. And then you're going to log in using your username and password that you either should have received already if you've had an orientation day, or you will receive it at your orientation day. So once you log in, you should see your content on the main page, and we're going to come back to that. But the first thing I want to do is show you how to change your password. So hovering on this menu on the left, go down to My Profile. The reason you want to change your password is because we put in general passwords for everyone, and you want to do something that's more secure and that you can more easily remember. So you're going to scroll to the bottom, click Edit, and then where it says Password, you're going to just replace that and then go ahead and be sure you confirm it with the new one. Write down your password so you're able to log in later. And if you want to fill out any of your contact information, you're welcome to. We just kind of put general items in there. And then you're going to click Save, and you'll be all set with your new password. So then once that's done, you're going to want to come up to My Learning. This is always going to bring you back to your main menu with all of your lessons. As you can see, the lessons are grouped by 5 at a time, so 1 through 5, 6 through 10, etc. And before we get to the lessons, I want to show you the items that come before your lessons. So they're actually within this 1 through 5 section. So you're going to click the square to the left of it, and you'll see before the lessons, and there's a couple of parts in here. So I want to go through these because you're going to want to take about a half a day and go through these a week or two before you start Ebly with your students, whether that be the beginning of the school year or if you're starting at mid-year. Just get in here and do this but before you're able to get in with your kids. The first part is Introduction and Theory. By the way, this little arrow in the top left, if you click it, it's going to make it so that you're more easily able to navigate, so that's kind of important. You're going to have some notes here. In the bottom right is where you navigate, so there's a next button, and then once you're past page 1, you'll have a back button as well. Be sure and watch the videos. This is going to give an overview of the first grade lessons and what to expect from the training. More directions for you, how to kind of navigate through everything, another video. And then also, once you get a little ways into it, it's going to be talking about documents here. So to get to your documents, you go to this little button that's got kind of 2 pages in the bottom right and click it. And that's going to let you click to open your documents that you can print. Or if you've got a binder, then they're already in your binder. All right. And then you're just going to kind of go all the way through. And I'm going to just briefly click through everything so you can see directions and then video. So do spend some time with these introduction and theory videos. Dedicate the time to watching them because they will tell you why you're doing what you're doing with Ebly, why what we do with Ebly is different from maybe what you're used to with literacy instruction. It's really important to understand why we're asking you to do what you're doing, and if we're asking you to not do things anymore, what we're doing instead and why. It's important to know as a teacher, especially with those little ones. So go ahead, and once you're to the end of the part, you can X out, and it's going to bring you back to those first 5 with your bit before the lesson section. As you can see, it shows the progress as done because you've clicked through every page. Now, we obviously didn't watch the videos, so be sure that you're watching those videos because the progress will not account for that. The next part has assessment. So these are a couple of formative assessments that you can use to show how you're doing with your Ebly instruction and show where your kids are at beginning, mid, and end of year. So just follow those directions with these 2 assessments. They're quick and easy to do before you get started with Ebly. So that's the assessment section. This next part is about sharing with parents. So there are going to be some documents and some videos, resources that we recommend you send an email to parents at the beginning of the year and share these resources with them. Documents are down here. So that's a fun little section. This add data here, this is an important part as well. Now this is not talking about the assessment we just discussed. This is your school, by signing you up for the ETSL, has signed a contract to allow you to share your student test score data. So whatever assessments you're doing school-wide, you can share that here. There is a document that you can use to fill in the data and a video that's going to walk you through how to use that document. The materials section is going to talk to you about books for your students. We really love decodable books and give you a whole list and recommendations of these decodable books that you can purchase, as well as trade books. Once the students, you may have some groups, especially in first grade, that are ready for the trade books at beginning or mid-year. And your kids may be kind of at different places, so be sure and read through that. This is the materials for students, the whiteboards, dry erase markers, and erasers they're going to need. And then you'll have some information about your binder coming in here. Now, if you ordered a binder already, you're all set. But if you haven't, in that materials section, there will be a table of contents and a cover for your binder that you can print out the materials as you go and create your own. Part 6 is going over the community. So this is where you can go to connect with others who are going through the ETSL in your grade level, to connect with others who are familiar and been trained in EBLI, to connect with us at EBLI headquarters if you have any questions. So, just scroll down and look at these pictures. Are going to tell you kind of where to go and how to fill out the discussion board, and these Facebook pages and community to connect with others who are into EBLI and ETSL like you are. So be sure and read through that. So again, once you're through that before the lessons section, you're going to be into your regular lessons after that. So you'll see each lesson has a part A and a part B, and they're 2 different activities. So the goal is to get through one whole lesson or 2 activities in a day. When you're first starting, you may be going slower. When you're 2, 3, or 4 weeks in, you may start picking up the pace and get through like a lesson and a half or 3 activities in a day. Either way is fine, just be sure and go in order. Give yourself, permission to be learning at the beginning just alongside your students. Now within each part A and part B, there's going to be a teacher learning and a student learning section. So let's look at the morning message teacher learning, this very first lesson. Now since this is the very first one, there are a couple of extra notes in here. Now, what's going to happen though at the beginning is there's going to be a classroom video. It's going to tell you if you've seen it before, or if you haven't, it's not going to say anything. And then who teaches it. So it's going to say Nora teaches this lesson via student lesson video. So you'll know ahead of time whether or not you are going to be teaching the activity or she is. Then you're going to see an overview video of Nora teaching the activity in a classroom so you can see what it should look like. You're going to have a couple different documents down here. The first one is a steps document, and this is going to tell you step by step, word for word, exactly what to do and say to teach this to your students. The next one is a helpful hints document. This is going to tell you a little bit more about the activity and why you're doing what you're doing. So it's going to say, why do I use words and sentences that are beyond students' ability level? And then it talks about why that is. So talking about the why behind it, again, so important for you to know. The next thing you're going to see is the training video. And this goes along with those steps and helpful hints documents. So this is actually the steps and helpful hints in front of your eyes for you to see and go through and learn about this activity and how to teach it. And then it'll give you a few helpful hints about things to remember that might be new. So that's your teacher learning section. And then you're going to scroll down. For the student learning, it's going to tell you whether or not the students need any materials, if you need materials, especially if you're teaching the lesson on your own. It's going to give you your video options for that first time, some important notes of things to remember, and then you'll have your student lesson video. Now this is the video of Nora that you are going to put up in your classroom for Nora to teach your students. For the first few weeks that you're teaching EBLI, it's going to be mostly through Nora videos, and then it's going to fade away to where you're doing more on your own, maybe going back and forth with her for a few videos, and then eventually you're going to be teaching everything on your own. So it's kind of that gradual release and giving you more support at first so that you can really see what it should look like and feel like as you facilitate, and then fading away to you teaching. So that's that student lesson video. And then we do ask that at the end of every part, or I guess, part A and part B, that you share feedback with us. So you're just going to choose your grade level, you're going to choose your lesson, and you're going to tell us what you liked or didn't like or would do differently or would keep the same about this lesson. These can be brief answers. You do agree to do this through the contract to give us your feedback every couple of sections. So we really use that to help other teachers in the future, so we'd appreciate you filling that out for us. So now that's the end of the first half of lesson 1, that first activity. And then, of course, moving on to the next activity, you'll start to see that these teacher learning and student learning sections are pretty similar to one another. So they have different components. Sometimes there's fewer and sometimes there's more, but it's always going to tell you the next video is coming, here's who's going to teach it. And there's always a note too, you can opt to teach it yourself if you'd like. Here's a video of Nora teaching it in the classroom. Here are your steps and your helpful hints documents. Here's your training video to learn how to do it. And then a few helpful hints, or maybe just one, about things to remember as you are showing or teaching to your students. And again, in the student learning section, we are going for teacher materials. Do the students need any materials? They don't. Then it's going to go for important things to remember as you're showing this video to the kids. Here's the video to pull up and show to them. And we do, especially the first few times that you're going through lessons, recommend that you watch the video ahead of time so that you can see where Nora's going to ask you to pause or what she's going to ask you to do to support your students. And there's your feedback again. At the end of each activity, you've got your little form. So again, the goal is 1 lesson a day, typically. And once you get all the way through, you're going to go back through lesson 5, you're going to go back to My Learning to get to the other lessons. But before I go back there, I just want to show you the discussion board really quickly, which is right here. You can click these 3 little dots, say add topic, and if you have any questions, you can kind of do the title, your main idea, and then put in your question or your feedback on the lessons here and click post. And if others have posted within here, you can respond to them as well. So if I go back to my content, it's going to show me where I'm at. And of course, you can always go back out of this part and come back in and it'll save your progress. So that's an easy way to tell kind of where you've gotten all the way through everything. Once you get through lesson 5, you're going to go back to My Learning and then be able to go into the next section. So it's pretty straightforward as far as putting you through this in order, these lessons. Just don't skip over anything. Go sequentially and you'll be in great shape. Shoot for 5 lessons a week. That's the goal. If you have any questions, we do ask that you email us at info@ebly.com and have a great time sharing EBLY with your students. Thanks so much.